Hello, my name is Jisho and I'm reading Master Dōgen's Shōbōgenzō. And we are on chapter 75, Jisho-Zanmai, Samadhi as experience of the self. Paragraph 92 in the Nishijima Cross Edition. However, hearing the words experience of the self, realization of the self, and so on, crude people think that we need not receive the transmission from a teacher, but should just study by ourselves. This is a great mistake. Those who wrongly conceive the thoughts and discriminations of subjective understanding and who have no transmission from a master are non-Buddhists of Indian naturalism. How could people who cannot discern this be people of the Buddha's truth? There are those, moreover, who, when they hear the words experience of the self, because they suppose it to be an accumulation of the 5 skandhas, equate it with Hinayana self-discipline. Footnote on Hinayana self-discipline, the following threefold division of the Noble Eightfold Path. 1. Self-discipline, keeping of the precepts, right speech, right action, right livelihood. 2. Self-purification, Zen practice is right mindfulness and right balance. And 3. Self-control or wisdom is right view, right thinking and right effort. Many people who do not know the difference between the great vehicle and the small vehicle experience themselves as the descendants of Buddhist patriarchs. But what person of clear eyes could be deceived by them? In the great Sung era of Shoko, there is a certain Soko, the Zen master Dai of Kinzan Mountain. Originally, he is a student of sutras and commentaries. While travelling from district to district, he becomes a follower of Zen master Ri of Senshu and studies Unmon's discussions of the ancients together with Seko's eulogies and discussions of the ancients. This is the beginning of his learning and practice. Not understanding the ways of Unmon, he eventually practices in the order of Master Tozan Dobi. But Dobi, in the end, does not grant that Soku entered his inner sanctum. Does not grant that Soko entered his inner sanctum. Master Dobi is a Dharma child of Master Fuyo. We should never rank him with idle people seated in a back row. Zen Master Soko continues his learning and practice for rather a long time, but he is unable to grope for Dobi's skin, flesh, bones and marrow. Still less does he know even of the existence of eyes inside atoms. On one occasion, as soon as he hears that in the truth of the Buddhist patriarchs there is a method to request the certificate of succession by burning incense on the elbow, Soko eagerly requests the certificate of succession from Master Dobi. Footnote on burning incense on the elbow or on the arm was apparently an ancient custom performed when praying to gods or Buddha, or as an ascetic practice. In later ages, incense was burned not directly on the skin, but in a censer surrounded by a hook from the arm. Burning incense on the elbow sounds like a very bad idea. But Master Dobi does not allow it, does not allow the certificate of succession, that is. Finally, he says, if you want to succeed to the Dharma, do not be hasty. Just be diligent here and now. The Buddhist patriarch's transmission is not given at random. I do not begrudge you the transmission. It is simply that you are not yet equipped with eyes. Then Soko says, originally endowed with right eyes, I am experiencing the self and realizing the self. How can you not give me the transmission? Master Dobi smiles and leaves it there. Later, Soko practices in the order of Master Tando Bunjin. One day, Tando asks Soko, why are you missing half your nose today? Soko says, I am a disciple in the order of Hobo. Tando says, unreliable Zen priest. When Soko was reading a sutra, Tando asks, "What sutra are you reading?" Soko says, "The Diamond Sutra." Tando says, "This Dharma is even and balanced, without high and low. Why is Ungozan mountain high and Hōbōzan mountain low?" Soko says, "This Dharma is even and balanced, without high and low." Tando says, "You have managed to become a real archpriest." Means the master of a temple of a lineage of intellectual study, but at the same time in writings of the Rinzai sect, the title is used ironically to describe a Zazen practitioner who understands Buddhism only intellectually. So not a compliment then. On another day, while Tando is watching the 10 hell kings being cleansed, he asks the veteran monk Soko, "What is the name of this eunuch?" 10 kings mentioned by Ju-o-kyo, the 10 Kings Sutra, colourful guardian images. Okay. "What is the name of this eunuch?" Soko says, "His name is Ryo." Tando rubs his head and says, "Why is it, though my name is Ryo, I am without one of those hoods?" Soko says, "The hood is missing, but the nostrils are very alike." Tando says, "Unreliable Zen priest." He said that before, hasn't he? Tando one day asks Soko, "Veteran monk Ko, you are able to understand at once the principles of my here and now Zen. If I let you explain it, you are able to explain it. If I let you experience it, you are able to experience it. If I let you conduct eulogies of the ancients, discussions of the ancients, informal talks, general preaching, and requests for the benefit of instruction, you are able to conduct them. But there is just one thing that is not yet present in you. Do you know what it is or not?" Soko says, "What thing is not yet present?" Tando says, "You lack only this one kind of understanding." Aha! If you are without this one kind of understanding, when I preach to you in my quarters, then you have Zen. But as soon as you leave my quarters, you have lost it completely. When you are fully awake and thinking, then you have Zen. But as soon as you fall asleep, you have lost it completely. If you are like that, how can you deal with life and death? Soko says, "That is just Soko's doubt." Several years later, Tando falls sick. Soko asks, 100 years after the master, whom should Soko rely upon in order to complete the great matter? Tando entrusts him as follows. "There is a man called Gon of Ha." The nickname of Master Engo Kokugon, successor of Master Goso Hoen, and editor of Heikigan Roku, the Blue Cliff Record. "I myself am not acquainted with him. Nevertheless, I am sure that if you meet him, you will be able to accomplish the great matter. Once you have met him, do not visit another. Practice Zazen when born again in a later age." The information in this paragraph is contained in the book Dai Fugaku Zenji Shumon Buko, the War Chest of the School of Zen Master Dai Fugaku, which was edited by Master Soku's disciple Dōgen. All right. When we examine this story, it is clear that Tando does not sanction Soko at all. Soko tries again and again to become enlightened, but in the end he lacks one thing, and he neither supplies the one thing nor gets free of the one thing. Previously, Master Dobi has refused Soko the certificate of succession and urged him by saying, "You have something which is not yet mature." We must credit Master Dobi with clarity in seeing a person's makings. That which is just Soko's doubt, he does not penetrate, does not get free of, does not break open, and does not doubt as the great doubt. He has no state hindered by doubt. Heedlessly to have requested the certificate of succession is a rash attitude in learning and practice, an extreme lack of will to the truth, and an utmost lack of veneration of the ancients. We must say that he is without profound insight and without the makings of the truth. He is an extreme case of negligence in practice. Through greed for fame and love of profit, he wants to break into the inner sanctum of the Buddhist patriarchs. It is pitiful that he is ignorant of the Buddhist patriarch's words. He does not understand that veneration of the ancients is just experiences of the self, and he neither hears nor learns that to scour the bequeathed teachings of myriad generations is realization of the self. As a result, he has wrongness like this, and he has self-delusion like this. Because he is like this, in the lineage of Zen Master Soko, there is not one true nose ring. Alludes to the ring used to lead a water buffalo by the nose. It means a person of self-control. I like that. There is not one true nose ring, or even half of one, and there are many whose basis is unreal. Failure to understand the Buddha Dharma and failure to understand the Buddha Dharma is like this. I'll read that sentence again. Failure to understand the Buddha Dharma and failure to not understand the Buddha Dharma is like this. Monks of the present must painstakingly learn in practice. Do not be negligent and proud. Soko, according to Tando's assignment, after Tando's passing, joins the order of Zen Master Engo at Tenai Temple in the capital. Engo one day ascends the seat of formal preaching. Soko experiences a mystical realization, and he reports his realization to Engo. Engo says, "Not yet. Although the disciples' state is like that, you have never clarified the great Dharma." On another day, in formal preaching in the Dharma hall, Engo quotes Master Gosso Hoen's words on phrases of existence and phrases of non-existence. Soko, on hearing these words, attains the state of great peace and joy in the Dharma. Again he expresses his understanding to Engo. Engo laughs and says, "I wonder whether I have deceived you." This is the story of how Zen Master Soko latterly practices under Engo. In Engo's order, he is assigned the post of chief clerk, but no definite attainment is visible in him either before or after that time. In his own informal preaching and formal preaching, he does not describe attainment. Remember, although chroniclers have said that he realized a mystical realization and have recorded that he attained the state of great peace and joy in the Dharma, he experienced no such thing. Do not think him important. He's a student of learning and practice, nothing more. Zen Master Engo is an eternal Buddha and the most venerable person throughout the 10 directions. Not since Obaku has there been a venerable patriarch like Engo. He is an eternal Buddha who might be rare even in other worlds, but there are few people or gods who know it. The Saha kingdom is a pitiful place. Now, when we refer to the Dharma preaching of the eternal Buddha Engo and examine the veteran monk Soko, it is apparent that Soko has never had wisdom that could match the Masters. He has never had the same wisdom as the Masters, and much less has ever realized, even in a dream, wisdom that surpassed the Masters. So remember, Zen Master Soko is not equal to his Master's virtue reduced by half. He merely relates to other lines from the flower adornment, Shurigama, and other sutras, reciting them from memory. He's never had the bones and marrow of a Buddhist patriarch. In Soko's thoughts, the viewpoint retained by great and small hermits, those merely led by the spirits that inhabit grass and trees, is the Buddha Dharma. If he imagined this viewpoint to be the Buddha Dharma, clearly he has never mastered the great truth of the Buddhist patriarchs. After Engo, he does not travel to other districts and does not visit other good counselors, but randomly leads monks in practice as the master of a big temple. The words he has left behind never reach the periphery of the great Dharma. Nevertheless, those who do not know think that Zen Master Soko is not abashed even next to the ancients. Those who see and who know have decisively concluded that he is not enlightened. In the end, not having clarified the great Dharma, he is only babbling in vain. It is thus evident that Master Dōbi of Tozan Mountain, being clear in his insight into the future, was certainly not wrong. Students of Zen Master Soko, even those of later ages, have never stopped resenting Master Dōbi, but Master Dōbi only refuses to sanction Soko. Master Bunjun's refusals are more severe than the refusal of Dōbi, who finds fault with Soko during each encounter. Yet Soko's students do not resent Master Bunjun. As how stupid should we see the people of the present and the past who have hated Master Dōbi? In general, although many in the great kingdom of Sung call themselves the descendants of the Buddhist patriarch, few have studied the truth, and so there are few who teach the truth. This point is also evidenced by the above episode. It was like this even in the Shoko era. Footnote 1131 to 1162. The present is incomparably worse than that age. Now people have become the leaders of monks without knowing what the great truth of the Buddhist patriarchs might even be. Remember, in the authentic transmission of the certificate of succession from Buddha to Buddha and from patriarch to patriarch, in India in the west and in China in the east, the lineage from Shōbōgenzō mountain is the authentic transmission. From the lineage of Shōbōgenzō mountain, the authentic transmission naturally passed to Tozan, without ever being known by others of the 10 directions. All those who know it are the descendants of Tozan, and they impart themselves to monks through voice and word. Throughout his life, Zen Master Soko has never understood the phrases experience of the self and realization of the self. How much less could he have penetrated other realities? And how much less could any later student following Zen Master Soko have understood the words experience of the self? In conclusion, expressions of the self and expressions of the external world expressed by Buddhist patriarchs inevitably include a Buddhist patriarch's body-mind and a Buddhist patriarch's eyes. Because they are a Buddhist patriarch's bones and marrow, they are beyond ordinary people's attainment of the skin. Shōbōgenzō Jisho-Zanmai, preached to the assembly at Kippo Temple in Etsu on the 29th day of the second lunar month in the second year of Kangen, 1244. Thanks for listening. Do take care. Bye now.